While Karl was trying to find a way to awaken his powers, the guards were making their rounds, checking which new students had already woken up. Those with the strongest bodies always woke up first. But it had only been half a day of travel, and they weren't expecting much yet. "Sir, there's already one active room. Room 12A, a boy named Karl. No last name recorded." The patrol guard reported to his commander at the front of the train. "What's his class? Have we seen him activate any skills yet?" The general asked. "Nothing yet. He's got a weird class marking. 3 claw marks." The guard replied. The general gestured for his assistants to look up the details on this class. But even after a few minutes, there was still no news. Other markings in their records were close, but nothing exactly like the one was found. "Well then, he'll have to figure it out on his own. I hope the kid's got good luck, or a thick skin. He's gonna need it if he turns in a blank sheet for his assignment when he gets to the academy." It wasn't unheard of for a student to get the mark but fail to awaken their powers right away, even if they followed the instructions. Some would get a weird starting skill, and some just sucked at using the power they'd been given. The general even remembered a case where a kid had awakened the Mage class, but didn't have enough mana to cast any spells until almost the end of the first semester. In the end, that student had been a total failure and had run away during a school trip to live as a regular person without ever getting past the beginning of level 1. That was the fate of many students who never learned to awaken their skills, either because they were completely unsuited to the abilities they'd received, or because they had a marking that no one could give guidance for, like the 3 claw marks boy in room 12A. The divine serum was a modern invention, created after extensive research on an incredible archaeological find at a holy site under an ancient sanctorum, and had detailed the inner workings of an ancient divine device known as the System Stones. The device itself was broken, but an initially unidentifiable power within it remained. Using the stones as a guide, and after decades of study, the serum had been created to attune humans to that power and give the Golden Dragon country a chance to overtake the military might of their neighbors and change the fate of their citizens. What did it matter if the ocean people had water magic to guard their ships against the rockets and guns of the Golden Dragon fleet? Now, they had mages of their own. Even if the untamed monsters of the Beastlands attacked, they had warriors and guardians with powerful skills that could cut down the fiercest magical creatures with ease. That was the strategic value of the divine serum, and the reason that every student who was found to be compatible was taken in by the military and intensively trained in the duties and responsibilities that came with being a protector of the nation. Life wasn't all military training and duty, though. If it were, there was no doubt that the serum-compatible and freshly empowered future guardians of the nation would rebel against authority and either turn traitor or stage a coup. So, they were treated like the legendary resources they were, able to live in luxury all their lives, as long as their power was enough to justify their salary. Once they could pass all the tests that the Golden Divine Academy placed before them, they would even receive official titles from the church and a bunch of legal and social benefits to match. Society had always belonged to the rich and powerful, but now the phrase had taken on a whole new meaning. Karl was totally clueless about what the observers were talking about. And while they were discussing the likelihood that he might not be able to awaken his powers in time to keep up with his classmates, Karl was getting ready to ask the passing guards for advice.
Sir, excuse me, but my skill marking doesn't seem to be in the book. Could I be missing a page?
He asked as the uninformed guard passed by again.
Not in the book, huh? Tough luck, kid. The book only covers the common markings, the ones that 90% of the new students get. But there are other possibilities. The injections are a mysterious divine force, and sometimes they give out results that nobody understands. The best I can tell you is to try everything, and whatever feels right probably is. If you're lucky, you'll awaken some powers before your classes start. Between you and me, you want to awaken those powers before you get to the academy. The elite students are particular about the power rankings, and if you don't, you'll be starting school at the very bottom.
The guard added.
Thanks, but have you ever seen a marking like this?
Karl asked curiously. The guard rolled up his sleeve and showed off the picture of a bear paw, the mark of a druid. According to the guide, druids were nature magic users with an affinity for animals.
Since it's a little like mine and seems to involve animals, maybe try things related to either animals or unarmed combat. There isn't much you can do to attune with nature on a busy train, but the windows open a little if you need some fresh air. That's what I had to do. I couldn't awaken my powers without some connection to nature. In fact, I didn't awaken them on the train at all. They activated as soon as I touched the trees on the way to the academy gates.
The guard explained.
Thanks for the help.
Karl called as the guard walked away. He didn't seem to be big on talking, or perhaps he just didn't want to get Karl's hopes up. But the advice gave him something to go on.